Good afternoon to all the good viewers of this program who watch this program with us in the English language. Allow me to share the link in Telegram for everybody who wants to watch it live so that they can have a link to it. I can also click on it through Telegram into YouTube and follow the program as well with you so that if there's any problems, I can fix it for you right away. And good afternoon to all those who join us in the live chat and chat with us as we have the program go along. Today we're going to start with the 21st part of Musa al-Kazim, the sadistic serial killer. And we're going to see what else we can learn from the information that I attained for you, put together for you from the actual book. And we're going to look at what that book, according to the words of the mullahs themselves, writing about their revered seventh imam, what they want to teach us. If you remember in the last part, in part 20, we were discussing about how they came to his house. They saw a man there. The man was sitting on a carpet in front of the house, and everybody came and sat on the ground while he was on the carpet. And they were amazed with him, and he said that he's Musa al-Kazim, and everybody bought it and said, yes, that's right, he's the guy, and the king of the country, the Khalif of the time, Harun al-Rashid, is down there, hugging him and kissing him and revering him about how great he is. The same guy who supposedly put him in prison in a hole under the ground, dark, far away from everybody, put stipulations that no one can communicate with him for the rest of his remainder of life. That guy is hugging him and praising him and telling him how great he is. Well, that's what they told us. So now we continue. We continue to see where this goes. So here you see, it says, when Harun heard of it, he ordered those sitting in his gathering to cling to respect and calm. So he told everybody, you see, when you have to give an order to people to be calm, that means that the people are not calm. You're telling them, I'm ordering you to be calm. It's like, let's put it this way. You get in a fight with your spouse. You're both yelling and you're both throwing stuff, and one of you's called the cops. And now the cops have shown up to your house. Now they come in as the authority in the house, and they order both sides, be calm, or that's it. You're getting arrested and you're going to prison for the night. They're going to give you an alternative. They're going to say either you do what we're telling you, it's an order, or you're going to get punished for it. When Harun al-Rashid is telling the people, be calm, be respectful, that means the people that are there, they have no respect for this guy, and they're not calm. They want to kill him. The people have had it up to here, that's it. It's done. And then he says to them, then he said to his chamberlain, permit him and let him not dismount except on my carpet. You see, he had a group with him. The group that he brought with him, when a king comes to a place, they don't come there with just anybody. They come there with an entourage of other delegates who have got positions of power, like his number 2 guy, like his number 3 guy, like his number 4 guy, the people that are there. He'll come down there with the governor of the city. He'll come down there, or the province or whatever. He'll come with the mayor of the city. He'll come down there with the head of the police. He'll come there with a portion of his army. He's going to come down there with his private security. He's going to come down there with people who mean something, have positions of power. He's going to come down there with the other imams or mullahs of the city who are going to follow him because, they have some kind of a status of power, at least in their neighborhoods. They're all going to come down with him. This is a khalif, so it's not a regular king. This is a khalif, meaning he has power of jurisdiction over the people as far as religion goes. So he's going to have to involve religious laws and matters in the decree of what he's going to pass. So, of course, he's going to have other imams, other religious authorities of Islam with him, so that when he gives a ruling, that ruling can be backed instantly by a group, a unanimous group, so that nobody can dispute it and say, well, it's only him who said so. No, it's going to be a group of people that say so. So he's bringing a huge group of people with him to the doorsteps of Musa al-Kazim. Essentially, he's holding court to see whether or not a punishment needs to be served or this person needs to be freed. You see, he's not just looking at Musa al-Kazim and thinking, this is my enemy, this is the enemy of my father, this is the guy that's gone to war against my father and me, this is the guy who sent his sons have gathered armies from left, right, and center. This is the guy that, he's not thinking from that point of view. He's thinking from the point of view of, this man is innocent right now until we can provide proper evidence in front of the people that this man is guilty. And he's not looking at him as, is he guilty for going to war against me? Rather, is he guilty of acts that are on the people that live around him? Has he committed crimes through his actions towards the people in which I cannot forgive, because Harun al-Rashid is ready to forgive him for going to war against Harun al-Rashid. But he cannot forgive him for what he's done to the public. Hence, they needed to take him to court. So the court is being done right in front of his doorstep. The Imam, Musa al-Kazim, the sadistic serial killer, walked towards Harun. Ma'mun described him, saying, surely he was an old man. Oh, he walked like he's an old man. All of a sudden, the Imam is pretending like he's a weak man. He can't do anything. He's a very old man. If you leave him for 5 more minutes, he's just going to pass away and, be out of your hair. He pretends, he's acting out. He's trying to act out a scene to make himself look less harmless than he is. He doesn't want people to see him as the monster that he is. He walked like an old man. Worship exhausted him. Oh, I'm so tired. I've been praying and I'm tired because I was praying. Really? He looked like an old man. Small water skin. Oh, like he tried to make himself look wrinkly and small. He pretend he bent over. You see people act on the stage, and when they want to act like an old man, they bend their back. They push their neck in so that their chin is almost touching their chest. They shake their hand. And that's what he was trying to do. He was doing that. Okay. He looked like an old man. Procession injured his face. This frustration that injures the face. You know what they do? They take a rock and they push it against their forehead so that they can bruise their forehead a little bit. They do this on a daily basis. They don't smash it in their head so it will bleed. No, they push it, they put their head on it, and they force their head down on it so that it'll start to make a little hole on their head, and then it'll leave a bruised mark because they're not doing this over time gently, where there would be a hole, but there wouldn't be a mark. They're doing this with force in quite a fast period of time. So there will be a bruise as well. So you can see a mark. Okay. Similar to, like, if you've seen any of the Hindu religion worshippers, they put that red dot on their forehead. In Islam, the ones that want to pretend like they have been praying for a long time without actually doing the actual prayer, they push a rock and they force it on their head, so that it will bruise their head and it will leave a mark right there, like that dot that the Hindus put. And then people will see that and they will think, oh, this person is a very religious person because this person has been praying a lot of hours every day, but the person hasn't even prayed once in a lifetime. They just push it there and they leave a mark. So he had this mark of injury on his face, that's what they're talking about. When Harun saw him, he rose for the Imam. He stood up. Harun was, I guess, sitting. I don't know what he was doing, because a minute ago they were all sitting. But anyway, he says that Harun rose for the Imam. Now, in real life, you rise for someone who has a higher position in society than you, regardless of the person's age. If the person is a 6-year-old child, but has been decreed as the king of the country, and that person is now 6 years old, and they sit in the throne as the king of the country, everybody who comes to see him is going to bow to him. The kid's not going to bow to anybody, but they're going to bow to him because he's the king. The title is what matters. So here you have the Khalif of the time, Harun al-Rashid, according to the words of these mullahs, and he's standing up to give respect and praise to an old man. The king stands up for an old man that nobody knows, who had to introduce himself and say, I am so-and-so, and didn't show any kind of proof that he is so-and-so. He just said, I am so-and-so. Doesn't make any sense. So we can tell that that is a lie right there. If a king stands up for someone else, that someone else has to also be a king. They have to be equal or a higher person. Meaning, a king will stand up to greet another king from another country in order to get some signatures on pieces of paper based on some trades they're going to do, or some plan that they're going to do, or a joint war that they're going to do, or something that they're going to do together. A king will not come along and stand up for a nobody, because if he does that, that means he's transitioning his kingdom from himself to that person. And that would be against what a king would do, because then he will not be king no more. So we can tell this is a lie. He didn't stand up for this guy. Imam wanted to dismount. So Musa al-Kazim wanted to dismount what? Was he riding a horse? Was he riding a donkey? Was he riding a camel? What was he riding that he was going to dismount? You dismount when you're sitting on something and you're riding it. What is he going to dismount? But al-Rashid shouted, no, by Allah, you should not dismount except on my carpet. Oh. So here we have Harun al-Rashid telling him, except on my carpet. This means that there was no dismounting, because you're not dismounting. If you dismount a horse or an animal, you're coming down on the ground. The carpet is on the ground. So there's no dismount here. Nobody dismounts onto a carpet. A carpet is put there for you so you can sit on the carpet while others are on chairs and they're going to watch you. You are at a lower position than them. They are at a higher position than you. And now you are going to explain to them what's going on. Essentially, this is holding court. They brought a carpet. He's outside his house. They're telling him, go and sit or stand on the carpet as you like. There's no dismounting here. So the Chamberlain prevented him from dismounting. Why would they do that? That would be going directly against the orders of the king of their time. That would mean that they could be executed. That would mean that they could be punished, thrown in jail. They could lose their positions. Obviously, they're not going to do that. We looked at him with admiration. Well, if you guys are looking at him with admiration, why are you telling him he has to get on the carpet? When you look at someone with admiration, the person you're looking at can do whatever they want. You're admiring them. You're not going to tell the person you admire where they can stand, where they cannot stand. So that is a lie. No one looked at him with admiration of magnificence. That is a lie too. He walked riding his mount to the carpet. He had a chair that he was sitting on that is mounted on some kind of animal. But now it's off of this animal and it's on the carpet. And he's sitting on it and it appears like he's walking. So that mount that he's sitting on, like a saddle, is now in the air. And this Musa is sitting on it. And that is above the carpet. The carpet obviously is walking, which means the carpet is off the ground. So now we got a flying carpet with a flying saddle, and the Imam Musa al-Kazim, according to the Shia Muslims, sitting on it, and it's moving in the air as if it's walking. You know, the front part of the carpet goes down like this, and the top part comes up, then the top part goes down, and the bottom part comes up. What is this? Now they're describing cartoon. Is this the Jensens that we're describing here? Was the mullahs watching the cartoon of Jensens, and they came up with the idea of they had flying cars, so we're going to have a flying carpet? Huh? He had a flying carpet. He was doing miracles for them. But the guy who brought the religion, the prophet of this so-called religion, Islam, Muhammad, you know, human feces, that guy, when they asked him during his lifetime to show them one miracle, just one, the Quran, the words of Allah says, you will wait for his miracle, and so will I, meaning God is waiting with the human beings for the miracle of Muhammad, meaning Muhammad doesn't have a miracle. He didn't have a miracle during his whole life. The Quran is against it. When they asked him again, Allah says, we're not giving him a miracle because you don't believe the miracles of the ones before him. So Muhammad didn't have any miracle. But his imams now have miracles. Very funny. The Chamberlains and the leading figures. Remember I told you he had others with him? Of the people surrounded him, Harun received him. Harun grabbed him, you know, he hugged him, he grabbed him. He's like, come here. Oh, I haven't seen you in my whole life. Oh, let me give you a hug. He kissed him on the face and the eyes. Apparently Harun has the hots for the guy now, you know, has to kiss him on the face. He has to kiss him on the eyes. I think now the mullahs were watching the Papa Le Pew chasing the pussycat in the Looney Tune cartoons. You remember the skunk? When the pussycat had white paint poured on his back and he looked like a skunk. And Papa Le Pew, the French skunk, he was all in love. And he just kept grabbing the pussycat and kissing it. And trying to grope it. You know, today that would be taken off TV because of all the wokeism and all that stuff, you know. But back in the day when this mullah was a kid, that was popular, you know. I think he was watching Papa Le Pew, and now he's describing the same thing. Harun al-Rashid turned into Papa Le Pew, and Musa al-Kazim turned into Sylvester, the pussycat that had the paint poured on him. And he's seeing him, and he's like, "Wee, I want this thing," and hugging it, kissing it. Oh my goodness. He took him by the hand and set him in front of the gathering. In other words, let me tell you what really happened. Musa al-Kazim is like, no, I don't want to sit on this carpet. He knows what's coming up. You know, you sit on that carpet. All these people are there to watch you. They're going to pass a judgment over you very shortly, and your life as a free citizen is coming to an end based on all the crimes you've committed. So he wants to waste time. He wants to do whatever he can so that the day can finish, so that they don't have to have him on the carpet, and he doesn't have to say anything, and they don't have to pass a judgment. So he's trying to buy time, and he's trying to weasel his way out. This is when Harun al-Rashid grabbed him by the hand, sat him down on the carpet, and said, "Stay there." This is when he grabbed him. He wasn't hugging him. He grabbed him. He's like, "Where are you trying to go? Get back here." Grabbed him by the hand and sat him down. Said, "Sit down here. This is what's going on." There is no kissing of the face and the eyes. There's more of a, you look at me, you're sitting here, and you're going to answer our questions. You're not weaseling out of this anymore. He asked him about his condition, talked with him, and said to him, you know, he's asking about condition. What kind of condition? He's not asking him, do you need a pillow under your buttocks while you sit down on the carpet? No, he's not asking that kind of thing. Talk to him. What kind of talking? He's not talking to him about, you see the clouds in the air? Do you think it's going to rain? Do you think the sun's going to come out? No, he's not talking about those things. Let's see what the mullahs, it's not going to be from my mouth, it's from the mouth of the mullahs. Let's see what the mullahs say the talk was about. Oh, Abu Hassan, you know, the guy had many kids. Harun al-Rashid picked one of them, Hassan, and says, father of Hassan. You know, he could have gone with Ali al-Radha, the famous son, but he went with Hassan. How many, this is a mistake. This should have been many, but the mullahs, you know, when they're translating to English, they make mistakes. How many persons? See? Because how many, and then you have in bracket persons, makes sense. How many, and then in brackets persons, doesn't make any sense. How many what? How many people, persons, are dependent on you? You see, when we say dependent on you, let me highlight it for you. When dependency comes in, that means that you are the breadwinner for how many people? How many people need you to be alive, need you to continue doing what you're doing in order for them to live? How many people are you feeding, and do you have a roof over their heads? You see? And the answer is, according to Musa al-Kazim, over 500. Now, of course, mullahs don't know how to talk, so they say 500s. But they don't understand that because they put over here, they don't need to put the S here because... Anyway, this is mullahs. What can you expect from a bunch of mullahs who've never gone to school? Over 500 people depend on Musa al-Kazim. You know, they need them food so they can have a house to live under, for clothing, for food, you know, over 500 people. Remember that. Over 500. A guy who's not in a position of power. He's not the mayor of a city. He's not a governor or prime minister or, anything like that. He's not a king. He doesn't work for the government in any shape, form of the matter. Just a normal guy, according to the Shia Ithna Ashari, which is the 12ers, according to them, all the guy does is all day he just prays. He doesn't have a job. How is he supporting over 500 people? Where is he getting money from? You have to do a type of work in order to have money. Without work, there is no money. If it was that easy that all you had to do was pray all day and all night, a lot of people would quit their jobs, sit at home, and pray all day and all night. But that's not how it works. That's not how it worked back then. That's not how it works today. That's not how it's going to work in the future either. You don't just make money off of sitting in your house and praising some kind of God. So there's other things that this guy's doing. Logic says so. The Muslims, especially the Shias, lie to you when they say he spends all day just praying, all night just praying. Why? Because if he did that, he couldn't support over 500 people who depend on him. Question is asked of him, are they your children? These over 500 people, are they your children? Harun al-Rashid wants to know, who are these people? Why are you supporting over 500 people? Like what's going on? This is not normal. It's not normal for a regular, ordinary man to do such a thing. You need a lot of money to support over 500 people. Like what's going on here? Musa answers by saying, most of them are followers and servants. Well, as far as followers goes, as far as they go, we saw that his followers supported his children in the war and they died. We saw he had followers from other cities, and there is no way back then that he could support them on a daily basis for their livelihood, where they would depend on him, because back then was not like today, where you would have an app in your phone from your bank in which you can just press a button and you can just fast forward your money, just send it over to the other guy, transfer it over, let it go over. There was no Money Mart or Western Unions or anything like that, where you can just go to there and say, okay, well, I'm going to fill out a form and I'm going to give them the cash and that's it. They're going to send it over and the other guy can go to another branch in his area and just pick up the money. It wasn't like that. They didn't have a bank at that time set up where the bank was in every location you can think of, and you just went to your bank and you just said, I'm just depositing this to this account, and the other guy's account was there, and you just gave an account number and they just wired the money. Oh, there was none of this. Back in those days, if you wanted to send anything, even a letter to another person in another city in that area, you would have to have someone who's a messenger who would be riding on a horse, and he would probably go from one city to another city. You would have to pay him. He would take whatever you want and take it over to the other city. You would have to make sure that this guy survives, because he would have to be a good swordsman, because on the way, there are groups of people who make a living off of attacking these messengers so that they can loot them, which would mean they would have to kill the messenger. They would have to take whatever he had. Okay, that's how they made their money. So this guy would have to be good enough to survive. So if you're sending money, for example, you would have to have a caravan of messengers so they can stand a fight as a group against these people who are caravan robbers. And it's going to take him time. There is no way he's going to get from Medina, where this Musa al-Kazim lives, to, for example, Baghdad in Iraq within 5 minutes. It's going to take him days to go. If he's going a further route to, let's say, Mashhad in Khorasan of Iran, it's going to take even a longer time. So it's not like he can give them their daily foods where they would be depending on him. It would take months just to do it once. So obviously, followers is a lie. Mullahs put that in here like as if this guy, anyone who follows him, doesn't work anymore. They just sit at home and this guy just pays their livelihoods. That's a false. If he had any followers left, they were working and they were living off of their own will. He was not providing anything for them that they could be dependent on. But he had servants. So he had, as part of this over 500 dependents, he had a large portion of slaves. So he was a slave owner. Musa al-Kazim is a proud slave owner. He continues on saying, Musa al-Kazim, as for my children, they are 30 and some. He doesn't even know how many he has, according to the mullahs. And the mullahs are trying to make it look good for him. You know, they're working the words so that when they write it, they try to protect him, to make him look good. And even in looking good, he doesn't know how many kids he had. The total number, he doesn't know. He has 30 and some. According to his ideology, it's somewhere between 31 and 39, anywhere in there. You know, 30 and some, it could be any. But in reality, we can say that every single slave that he had, these female slaves, each one at least gave him 2, 3, 4 kids. So we can say that this over 500 number, majority of them are his kids. He had kids from the slaves. He had kids from his own kids by sleeping with his own daughters at very young ages. So he's into incest. He's into slavery. He's a pedophile. And he's into rape. That's 4 charges right off the hand within the first set of 2 questions that Harun has asked them. He's committed 4 different charges of crime. Now, back then, you can say, well, all the Muslims had slaves. There was 2 different types of slaves, you see. You had slaves that your right hand possesses, that are your slaves. Those right hand slaves, you can do whatever you want with. They cannot blame you. But then you had a different type of slave. A slave that you went out and you purchased. Instead of going to war and claiming them, you purchased. The slaves that you purchased, they are like the house slave. You know, they do the work inside the house, the cleaning and the washing and the cooking and getting the water and making everything ready and all that kind of stuff. This type of slave, you're not allowed to have sexual relations with unless you sign a nikah contract, which is a FUCKING contract. Without a contract, you cannot have these slaves in your bed. However, Musa al-Kazim had only these type of slaves, and he had all of them in his bed, and he did not have a contract with them. Hence, this is rape of slaves. And that's how he becomes part of the crime. He had 4 charges on him with the first 2 questions. Why do you not marry the women to their cousins? They ask them, why don't you marry, you have all these girls, the girls that are in your family. Why don't you marry them to your cousins? And why are you not getting married from your cousins too? That's what it means. When you're marrying your girls to your cousins, that means that you would get girls from your cousins too. Vice versa. He says, the hand falls short of that. I do not have money. That's what he's trying to say, i.e., I do not have. Well, you don't need money if you're marrying your daughters off in nikah contract, because the guy who's getting the girl in the nikah contract, he will give the money, not you. Which tells us send this question up here. Why do you not marry the women to their cousins? Is incorrect. Here, Harun al-Rashid is asking him, Musa, why are you not marrying from your cousins? And the mullahs lied to you. They changed it around and they said, why do you not marry the women? Which women? Your kids. To their cousins. Mullahs try to save, but they forget that the answer will give it away. And the answer is, I do not have money. He doesn't have money to get girls from his cousins. He can't go and buy them. He doesn't have the money. In Islam, it's a transaction of a sale. It's not a marriage. It's a contract where the parents sell their daughters to a man for money so that he can have a woman for sex. He's claiming her as part of his property, like you would go out today and pay money and buy a cat or a dog or a sheep or a cow or a horse or a donkey or a car or a house. You go out, you pay money, and you say, I want that. And they say, okay, well, you paid, it's yours. And they sign a contract that determines that that thing belongs to you. That is in Islam. So here we have Musa al-Kazim saying, I don't have money to get these women, hence I buy the servants that are cheaper. Harun al-Rashid asks him, what about the country states? You have so many country states. How did you come up with money for these country states? I mean, you need money. You said you don't have money, but you have all these country states. What did you do to get the country states is what is being asked. And you need money here. Where's the money? Musa al-Kazim is saying it sometimes produces, sometimes does not produce. But that's not the answer. He wasn't asked, in your country states, do you grow anything? Do you have an income from it? No, he's asking him, what about the country states? I mean, you have so many. You have so much land. Where did it come from? How did you accumulate so much land? What did you do? I mean, if a person has no money, how do you buy land? It's not like back then you could have gone to the bank and said, can I please get a loan? I mean, I don't have anything, but if you give me a loan, I'll pay it off monthly for the next 25, 30 years. And, you can charge me some interest and I'll just pay for the land. And, you just give me the loan first and then I pay it. There was no bank that did that back then. Where did he get the money? That's what Harun al-Rashid is asking here. How did you come up with this money? What happened? But mullahs are stupid. They say sometimes it produces, sometimes it doesn't produce. Remember, he had all these servants that we talked about? The servants are in charge of making sure you have food. They grow the food. They cook the food. They make sure that the land is taken care of. So all these people are working on these lands, and all they're getting as a reward is that they can go in the bed of Musa al-Kazim so he can rape them, and that they can be in a house on that land so they can survive the elements of the desert. And whenever Musa al-Kazim is finished eating, they can have a little bit of food to eat, enough to stay alive. Not so they can grow a stomach that's 300 pounds. No, just enough to, to make sure they're not dead yet, Harun al-Rashid asks, are you in debt? Like, do you have debts? Musa al-Kazim says, yes. So here Musa al-Kazim had 4 crimes that we counted. His 5th crime was he was claiming land under his name, which he could not explain where the money came from. Which means he's doing some kind of a crime to come up with that money. Because if he wasn't doing a crime, he would say, I pray and people come and they pay me so I can pray for them. He could have said, I work in the lands that I have and I sell the produce of it and I make money off of that and I use that to buy land. But he didn't say that. He said that my home sometimes produce and sometimes don't produce, which means nothing. He didn't talk about him working there. He has slaves. We know that slaves do the work, not him. So he's not working there. So obviously he didn't do anything there. He didn't say that I get people I read marriage contracts for people and I read this and that for people and they pay me for it. He didn't say that either. He gave no alibi for himself, no proof of anything regarding where he makes his money, which puts him into doing things, acts that are against the laws of the land to come up with money. And now he says he's in debt. Meaning what? When you're in debt, it means you have loans that you have not paid. In other words, it means by asking, are you in debt? And Musa al-Kazim saying yes, Harun al-Rashid has now learned that Musa al-Kazim goes around the city, finds the rich people of the city, asks them for a loan, convinces them in one shape, form, or another to give him a loan. He uses those loans to buy land. And then he does not pay off the loans. He sits in the land, knowing well that that money is now transferred into the ground and that the people he borrowed from, they cannot come and cut off the ground and take the ground for money. And since he had his children gather armies, he knew well that if someone did try to come and take the land, well, his kids would kill him. So here's a fifth crime. We're counting. This is the fifth crime. He's stealing the money of the people through an idea of a loan. You give me a loan, but I'm not paying you back. I'm taking your money, putting it in my pocket. When you come back, I tell you, I don't have no more money. The money's gone, finished. When I make money, I'll pay you. You said until you die, wait for me to pay you. He was a thief. Musa al-Kazim was a big thief. He was a scam artist. That's what we learned so far. How much? How much do you owe? Musa al-Kazim says, about. You know, when you say about, that means you're not sure. You're trying to lower it somehow. It's a higher number. About 10,000 dinars. You know, 10,000 dinars of that time compared to now, it would be in the trillions. Because, you know, the inflation now keeps going higher and higher. As an example, back in the 60s, I mean, you could get gas for your car and fill up your car at like 2 cents per gallon. 2 cents per gallon. Oh. And 60 years later, now you're paying what? In some places, $7, $8 per gallon. In some countries, like in Canada, you may be paying $7, $8 per liter. I mean, prices go up. 10,000 dinars of that time compared to now. Oof. I mean, the guy's been ripping off everyone in the city. Everyone has a claim that, hey, this guy hasn't paid me. The whole city is in uproar. Everybody wants a piece of this guy. They want to kill him. It's just he has an army around him built out of his kids, and his kids going around and collecting other people to join the army. He lies to them. That's how he got them to be in his army. Hey, join us. We're going to take out the government. We're going to have all the money of the government. We can pay everybody back everything. Don't worry. God is with us. Which God? Allah. Which Allah? The same Allah, which is the statue. Allah is with us. We're going to do it. Just like the Palestinian, supposedly Palestinians of today. You remember they say, Allah, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah is with us, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. And then they go there and they die. Huh? They're pulled out of the hole like a rat, wearing only their underwear, to be taken to prison by the IDF soldiers. Similarly, in that day, they would get everybody together. Let's go. We're going to go attack the government. And then the Abbasids crushed them, killed them. And then what does Musa al-Kazim do? The sixth crime. Go to the families of those dead soldiers that he gathered, who were not even soldiers. They were regular folks. And now he says to their wife and kids, well, there's no social system. No one is going to pay for your livelihood. Now you depend on me. And since you depend on me, I'm going to sign a FUCKING contract with you. And I'm going to have you in my bed every night. And your kids are going to sign the same contract with me. And they're going to be in my bed every night. And I'm going to make sure that, you know, you live in a house and that you have a roof over your head. The house that you're currently in, which was your house, which now I claim as my house because, you know, I'm the so-called man of the house. And I'll make sure that some food comes in here. So initially, with that contract, I take over your property and make sure that there is some food for you to eat. And you offer up your body to me every single night. gathering lands, gathering slaves, and gathering free nikah contract, where he doesn't have to pay them in this nikah contract, rather gets paid for a nikah contract, meaning doing it the opposite way, against the orders of the book of this God, Allah, the Quran. Here, the mullah writes, cousin. Now, all of a sudden, Harun al-Rashid is the cousin. I mean, we spent 30 pages on how Musa al-Kazim wanted to dismember and demolish the Abbasid Caliphate, and he was saying how the Abbasid Khalifa are going and killing Shias, which was false, because the whole reason why they came into power was to defend Hussein, the so-called great-great-great-great-grandfather of this guy. And now, all of a sudden, Harun al-Rashid became cousin. Cousin. Oh, cousin. You know? Now they're cousins all of a sudden. Cousin, I will give you an amount of money to marry your children and to plant your country states. So nice of him. Except we know that this is a lie. Not the cousin part, because they are distant cousins, but the rest of this, where he says, I will give you money. You see, in the Hindu religion, the parents of the woman pay the parents of the man so that the man can marry the girl. That's in Hindu. In Islam, it's the opposite way. Okay? In Islam, it's the man who pays the girl so that the girl can marry the man. And by technicality, that payment only goes through if the two divorce. If they don't divorce, he's got until the day she dies to pay her. Which means he could just hold on to his money and never pay. So what is the point? And then it is he paying her, not her paying him. So here, if you're marrying your children and his children are girls, because the boys are dying in the battlefield, so it's only girls that are left. If you're marrying up the girls, why do you need money? Why? What money do you need? Also, you have so many servants. If your boys need to get married, marry them to the servant. The servant's not going to ask for much money. I mean, the servant would love to marry on a condition, because you don't have to give money. You can do anything. Money is just one way. You could say, I'm going to teach them the Quran. That's what the Muslims love to tell. That the Prophet used to marry the people and tell them, I'm going to teach you Quran. And they would marry him for, learning the Quran. Yeah. Why doesn't the children say, I will marry this servant, and by marrying the servant will become a free woman? They will accept it. They don't want to be a servant. You don't need money. You could get off on the technicality that instead of money, they're going to offer them freedom as a human being. They would take that. They don't need the money. And to plant in your country states. What does that mean? Well, obviously, if someone is going to invest in your country states, wouldn't they first have to take over the loan that you have? Because people are going to come to Harun al-Rashid and say, Harun al-Rashid, you're investing in here. This guy hasn't paid us. You have to pay us before you invest in it. So, and that means before he could pay to plant in your country states, Harun al-Rashid would have to pay off the loan. In paying off the loan, it would give him the right of planting in the states freely, justly. But he never said, I'm going to pay off your loan, which means this is a lie. This is when the mullahs try to write stuff in there to make it look like Musa al-Kazim had some kind of upper hand. I mean, there's 5 crimes on him right now. You have linked your womb relatives. Allah has thanked you for this beautiful intention. Musa al-Kazim is now speaking on behalf of God. You know, he knows what God wants. Oh, you paid me money. Oh, Allah loves you now because you paid me money. Oh, you're gonna give me money so I can marry off my children. Oh, you're gonna invest in my land, and I'm gonna make money, and you're not gonna make money. Oh, that's good. Yeah, Allah loves it when you give us money. I mean, Allah needs money. Allah says in the Quran, when you give him money, he'll repay you in heaven. You know, not here, in heaven. You gotta wait. You know, he's short of money. Allah needs money. What kind of heaven needs money? I mean, in heaven, you don't work no more. You're not going to have a boss no more. You're not going to become a bus driver. You're not going to become a lawyer. You're not going to become a dentist. You're not going to become a model. You're not going to become a professional wrestler. You're not going to become a garbage man. You're not going to do any kind of jobs. No one's flying a plane, and no one's driving a truck, and no one's riding on trains, and it's heaven. What kind of heaven needs money? What kind of heaven will tell you that when you come there for the good rewards, you'll get a golden bracelet or a silver bracelet, or the bricks of your house will be made out of gold? And what kind of heaven is this? When you talk like that, that means there's value. That means you're going to have people in heaven who are rich and some who are poor. You're going to have a poor heaven? I mean, the people that are living here and homeless on the streets, you're going to tell me the guy's going to die and he's going to go to heaven, and in heaven he's going to be a bum on the streets again? Forever? What kind of God was that? Anyway, Musa al-Kazim is speaking on behalf of his God, He says, yes, the blood relationship is now touching close. The blood relationship is based on money. Only thing Musa al-Kazim realizes is money. How much can you give me? He doesn't like you because you're genetically the same family. No. You're his family when you give him money. In other words, he's ready to sell anybody in his family over money. He's ready to sell any ideology over money. Money is the number one word in his life. You give him money? Oh, yeah, Allah loves you now. Yeah, of course he loves you. You gave me money. Why, are you Allah? Oh, apparently. A foolish man who only has money on his mind cannot be a religious leader for anybody. The lineage is one. Now we're one. We're one now. We're one. We're together. We became unified as one. We're not two families. No, we're one now. Because of the money, we're one. Now you understand why that cockroach Sayyid Ali Khamenei in Iran wants to take all the money of the people of Iran and puts everything under his own hand and controls every aspect of society because there's money. He's following this guy. Money is the name of the game. Money is the God. Allah is money. You gave him the money? Yeah, Allah loves you. Al-Abbas is the uncle of the Prophet. Oh, now Muhammad realizes the Abbasid Khalifa are the same family of the Prophet, but he was saying they're going to kill the Shias. Now they're not killing Shias no more? Okay. My brother is his father. He talks about it here. Abbas is the uncle of the Prophet, a full brother of his father. Ooh, whose father? Muhammad's father. You know, the guy whose name was Abdullah. But the Muslims, you know, every time Muslims want to fix something, they demolish it even further. It's like, imagine it this way. The Muslim is there and he's milking the goat, okay? And the milk is going in a can, okay? And he's milking. And then while he's milking, a mouse comes along and wants to jump in the can, but can't get up, you know, because mouse is small, you know, it's just jumping up. And the Muslim decides, I'm going to fix this situation because I need to get rid of the mouse so I can keep milking, you know. So the Muslim, instead of kicking at the mouse, decides he's going to kick the can over, spilling all the milk on the ground and demolishing everything, you know, dismantling it, finishing it, ruining everything. Same thing here. Abdullah means the slave of Allah. Allah is one of the daughters of Allah from pre-Islamic time. Because the Arabs still believed in Allah as a God, but Allah had 3 kids. One of them is Abdullah. This Lat that we have a slave of named Abdullah, Lat is one of the daughters of Allah. Muslims decided we have to fix this. So what they did is they decided to write in their books Abdullah instead of Abdullah, meaning Abdullah, this Abdul guy is slave of Allah with the name Abdullah. He is the father of Muhammad. Okay? And now they're saying that Abbas, he's the brother of Abdullah, a full brother, meaning they're not half brothers. They have the same father and the same mother. Okay? He is the uncle of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So he's the uncle of Ali and uncle of Qata Muhammad. And Ali is the son of Abi Talib. Abi Talib is another full brother of Abdullah. And there, supposedly Abdullah is following Allah. You know, he's a slave of Allah. But Abdullah is not a Muslim. So him not being Muslim, Abu Talib is not a Muslim because he never said the words that you say to become a Muslim. He supported his family, but he never said the words. Hence, the Sunnis believe he's not a Muslim. Shia say, yeah, he's a Muslim by action, but the guy never said it. I mean, the whole life of his, he went by and he never said it. He never said it. He didn't say the words to become a Muslim. So the 3 of them are brothers from the same family. 2 of them died without becoming Muslims. Abdullah died 4 years prior to the birth of Muhammad. That's right, 4 years. Okay. I mean, the guy, him and his father, Abdullah and his father, they got a marriage contract on the same day. They both had sexual relations with their wives on the same night. Abdullah then died right after. He was dead for over 4 years before Muhammad was born. I'm not joking. The guy was living in the womb of his mother for 4 years. I mean, I don't know. Even the whales give birth after 2.5 years. Elephants give birth after 1 year and 6 months. What kind of creature was the mother of Muhammad that He was inside her womb for 4 years. Then they came out. So it's talking about that family, okay? Abdullah and his 2 brothers, Abu Talib and Abbas. Okay, they're the same family. Now Musa al-Kazim is talking about it. Yes, we're the same family. We are all the same. You know, he's doing this. You've seen in Italy, the beggars, they come up to you like this. They pretend to be Catholic. They do this with their hand. Police. They want the money. Now Musa is doing the same thing. Police. We are the same family. We are the same family. Please. Ladies and gentlemen, we will bring the program to an end in the English language for today. The rest of it we will continue later when we do the part 22, because this is where we came to an end with the Persian-speaking community, and we want to continue with them where we left off. So we will continue with you where we left off with them as well. If you like our program, subscribe to our program. Take your finger, click on the subscribe button. Underneath the program, you will find the link for our link tree. There you will find us in other social media apps. You can subscribe to us there as well. When you share this program with others, tell them to also subscribe. Tell them to like the program just like you do. Leave good comments under the program. Press the like button on the program. Tell them to do the same thing. I leave you in the hands of Jesus until our very next program.